You're listening to the Plane Talking UK podcast, a UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 96 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me, stressed, in my kitchen studio is Matt.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Well, I say good morning. I really don't
It's
mean
not a good morning at all.
Yes.
We have had the probably the worst technical issues that we've had since we started the live shows.
And ironically, it wasn't anything to do with us. It turned out to be a fault in YouTube for some reason. So for those of you who have moved to our temporary new home, thank you very much for your patience for sticking with us, frankly, because we are now nearly an hour late. This is a new record. This is a new record.
So hopefully those of you guys in the chat room can hear us. That would be good if you could just give us a wave. Good morning to everyone in the chat room. Matt's just adjusting my camera. Glenn Towler, Captain Al's in there. We've got Mark Harvey. We've got Jennifer Parkinson. Masha's in there. Morning to you all. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Indeed, yes. I think we should really crack on before anything else goes wrong, don't you?
So before anything else breaks or blows up or explodes, we're going to start the show, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world. Sorry. And
now what are you doing?
I'm just adjusting something. Don't.
Oh, no.
So if you're ready, Matt.
Oh yeah, why not?
Let's go. So, kicking off this week's first news
story. He just said he's
story.
going to harm someone, and he looked at me when he said that. I'm really nervous.
I wouldn't kill my co-host. No, but really, though, our first news story this week is on the Business Traveller site, and it's regarding the Airbus A350. And the headline, What You Need to Know.
Okay.
The A350 XWB aircraft is the next generation aircraft from Airbus. It has a number of different configurations, and with its newly announced ultra-long-range configuration, the A350-900 is able to perform flights of up to 19 hours in duration. Blimey. The A350 XWB offers efficiencies for airlines ordering it according to Airbus. These are as follows. It offers a 25% fuel improvement in efficiency and 25% lower seat mile cost compared to current aluminium or aluminum, as our American friends call it, long-range competitors such as the 777. The A350 XWB is powered by the new fuel-efficient and quiet Rolls-Royce Trent XWB engines. Every seat offered, the A350 XWB burns 9% less fuel than the 787-9.
Wow.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Boeing.
Oops.
The fuel burn advantage combined with lower maintenance costs and operating costs per seat makes it slightly better than the 787-9. That's scary.
Well,
it's also got 35 more seats than the 787 and offers a potential revenue advantage of 10% more.
Yeah.
We've got some pictures here.
Indeed, let's bring those up
on the screen.
He says, hopefully.
The interior. Hopefully these will come up on the screen.
Okay.
Of the interior of the A350. There's some lovely. They look.
That does look very comfortable.
They're very much not economy seats. Those ones.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Definitely, yeah.
You can't see Ryanair adding that to their collection anytime soon.
No. And according to this article, the cockpit also has become more comfortable and user friendly for the pilots. Captain Al's in the chat room. Captain Al flies the Airbus A321.
Right.
And he also flies. He's also flown the A330 as well.
Okay.
So I should imagine that these flight decks are fairly sort of common for him. He knows where all the bits and pieces and what they are and what they do. So
absolutely.
So for any of you guys in the chat room who want to know anything about flying an Airbus, yes, Captain Al is in the chat room.
Is the man? Yes, absolutely. Actually, on that note, Captain Al has made a marvellous suggestion there in the chat room for me. I think I need a large brandy.
He definitely does.
I'm not going to disagree with you there, but Glenn's also said 19 hours. That is just crazy.
19 hours in a plane.
Yeah, Mark Harvey says he goes stir crazy, and Glenn has also said that I'm a big fan of the A350. I do want to fly in one.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah,
we might see one at Farnborough this year. Perhaps
Really?
Airbus have got one there on show.
Oh, excellent. Anyway, on to the next story, and this one is a slightly worrying story, I think, and it is a story to always seems to end up being a Ryanair story. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because Carl keeps putting them in second. But anyway, yes. Now, shall I play the clip first?
Yeah, we're going to play the clip for this story.
Okay.
What's the headline in this one?
The headline is this is on the Independent website, and it is "We don't want to die. Ryanair apologises for cabin crew members' regrettable comment," which is slightly unnerving. So we're gonna have a go at now. Given how well everything's been working this morning, I'm a little bit apprehensive about doing this. So if I just bring this up here, and hopefully, if you bring up the sound,
we're ready to
we'll
go.
give this a go.
Give us a listen.
This is a little video clip of a Ryanair flight very, very recently.
Captain cannot take us, but we have ice on the wings. We don't want to die. Oh, no. I want to die, man. Captain
Indeed.
cannot take us, but we have ice on the wings. We don't want to die. Oh, no.
Well, that's lovely, isn't it?
So there we.
I don't really
I can't
know
believe what you just said.
No,
there.
I know. So Ryanair have apologised for a regrettable comment made by a Ryanair cabin crew member in the heat of the moment. A short video clip, which we've just played to you, which was shared on Facebook, appears to depict a cabin crew member explaining that a plane cannot take off due to ice on the wing, which she appears to joke about that we don't want to die. Now, those are not words you want to hear.
We don't want to die.
No, I don't think anybody, there are few in this world who actually wish for that to happen, I think. A representative for Ryanair told The Independent that the company will be speaking to the crew member involved and apologise for the regrettable comment she made in the heat of the moment. Passenger Ella Ryan posted the short clip on Facebook, where it has been viewed over 16,000 times in 17 hours. The video appears to have since been deleted from Facebook, but it has been republished widely on YouTube and other video sharing websites. Ryan was on a flight from Glasgow to Dublin, which had allegedly been delayed almost 8 hours. Ryan described reaction to the cabin crew members' comments as absolute mayhem, and I don't blame them. That is a horrific
amazing
story.
Hopefully you guys in the chat room heard that.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Sort of understood that kind of
I don't
video
get it.
there.
I just don't understand why. Why would you do that? Why would you say that out loud? I mean, I get the whole heat of the moment thing, but it's just, surely there must be a filter somewhere in your head that if you're about to take people up in the air, and it's, flying conditions are not ideal, why would the word die appear in your vocabulary in any way, shape or form when speaking to, I don't know, that's a very strange
Mark
thing.
Harvey's in the chat room. He's put heat of the moment with ice on the wing.
Absolutely. Maybe that moment should have been pumped outside to out the plane.
I couldn't imagine for 1 second that Captain Al would be on the flight deck and or give a PA Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We'll be taking off soon once the engineers have put some sellotape on the engines.
Yeah,
absolutely.
one of them's fallen off. Absolutely. Yeah, bit of blue tack, that always works. I can't imagine also the legend that is Pilot Pip doing anything vaguely stupid either. Not when it comes to stuff like that. Just bizarre story. Just a bizarre story.
Oh, I know. It's good. It's good.
Anyway,
moving on to the next story on the Business Traveller site. This one is a bit more low key.
Okay, good.
So the headline: British Airways considering more A380s, which is good because we were covering stories earlier on that were saying that the 380s were going to lack interest.
Yeah.
So British Airways owner IAG is looking into the possibility of expanding its A380 fleet beyond the 12 it already is operating or has ordered. BA received its first A380 in July 2013 and currently has 10, with the final 2 to be delivered later this year. Destinations served by the aircraft include Singapore, Hong Kong, Johannesburg, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. It configures the aircraft in 4 classes with 14 seats in first on the main deck, followed by 44 Club World seats in a 242 configuration. Then there's 199 World Traveller seats in a 343 layout, or economy as most people call it. The upper deck has a further 53 Club World seats in a 232 layout, followed by 55 World Traveller Plus seats, also configured in a 232 layout. And then there's 104 World Traveller seats in a 242 layout.
Gosh.
It seems that Chief Executive Willie Walsh is considering a further expansion of up to another 6 A380 aircraft. And he said that at a slot-constrained airport, the A380 is useful for allowing an airline to carry more passengers per slot. Emirates has A380s on all 5 of its slots at London Heathrow, and it also makes sense when there is a high demand on a route. But the airline does not want to or is unable to add extra frequency. Walsh also spoke of the possibility of having the A380 enter service with fellow airline Iberia. In additional reports from the Wall Street Journal, Willie Walsh said he also regretted not ordering more Boeing 777-300 ERs. BA has 6 of these, and it would be interested in increasing the fleet size again by leasing these aircraft.
Right, yes.
So that's good news for Airbus.
It is, yeah.
More orders for such an airline such as BA. Increasing. I don't think they'll ever have the kind of a 380 fleet that Emirates have, because Emirates operate a massive amount of these. I forget what it is now off the top of my head. Yeah. But
quite
it's good news.
Anyway.
It's good news.
I don't know if I dare you to Google anything. We're a bit terrified.
I've seen one of these close up at Heathrow as well, the 380 in BA. I don't know what it is, but the 380s in BA colours look really nice.
BA really colours in general, it just sort of tends to look quite nice, doesn't it? Okay, on to the next story. This is on the Reuters website, and the headline is Wizz Air. Sorry, I nearly said Ryanair. I didn't mean that. Wizz Air aims to catch Ryanair on costs over the next year or so. Oh, this is exciting. Wizz Air expects to replace Ryanair as the airline with the lowest costs in Europe over the next year or so, the chief executive of Eastern European low-cost carrier told Reuters on Monday. Mr. Varadi said that its rivals' costs were creeping up as it flies to more primary airports and invests in customer service. Our costs keep coming down, their costs creep up. So I think in the course of the next year or so, the lines will cross, he said on the sidelines of the Airline Economics Conference in Dublin on Monday. Varadi was relaxed about Ryanair's plans to open up a base in Timisoara. Is it Timisoara? Timisoara Airport, yeah. Romania, from November. Ryanair has been in Central and Eastern Europe for 7 years. He said, adding he thought there was plenty of space in the Eastern European market for them both. Competing with Ryanair just makes us more formidable as a competing force. As part of its growth plans, Wizz Air floated in London last year and has ordered 110 A321neo aircraft with revamped engines, which will be delivered from 2019. The carrier will also take delivery of over 40 A321ceo. Now, what's a CO?
That's current engine option.
Current engine aircraft between now and mid-2018. With regards to the CO aircraft, we would finance on the basis of sale and leaseback, but with the NEO we would take a more diverse view of financing, Varadi said. He said lease rates had fallen significantly for the CO and that leasing was a good way to ensure the financier, not the airline, carried the risk of the aircraft value falling while manufacturing Airbus transitions from the CEO to NEO. But this is 2-3 years down the line, so we have time to take a view on what to do, he said, referring to the financing for the NEOs. I'm ever so sorry, that was a very badly written report. I'm very disappointed in you, Reuters. That was not the easiest story to read, because having to change it as we fly, but literally in this case.
Literally, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of price differences there are between Wizz Air and Ryanair when this all sort of kicks off and gets into full swing.
Yeah,
because Ryanair have the lion's share, don't they, of the low-cost flights.
So, I mean, what are Wizz Air's...
Wizz Air...
what's their customer... I mean, they're sort of saying because, Ryanair are spending money on...
Well, Wizz Air haven't been going quite as long as Ryanair.
Right.
They were founded in September 2003. They've got quite a lot of operating bases around Europe, most of them.
Not at major airports.
Not at major airports.
But then Ryanair have only really they're only sort of operating either out of Luton or out of.
But Ryanair
Stansted, admittedly, is a major
obscure.
Yeah, but then that's how they get the costs down, isn't it? Essentially by doing exactly that. So they fly, and Wizz Air are no different.
At the moment, they've got 116 destinations. Wizz Air, with a fleet size of 64 aircraft. Which are made up of all Airbus aircraft. They've got A321s. Yeah, they've got a couple of those A321s, like what Captain Al flies, and they've also got Airbus A320s as well. They've got 61 of those. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because Wizz Air are operating into UK, obviously. It'll be interesting to see if they can compete with Ryanair to other destinations. Yeah, and what extras they charge as well, because that's the thing that makes a difference. Cases, suitcases, and stuff, carry-ons. How much they're going to charge for ancillary.
So if they make that cheaper, then there is a possibility that people will choose Wizz Air over Ryanair just because they want to take.
Service might be better. Service might be better. I've never flown with Wizz Air.
No, I haven't. If anybody in the chat room, if you've flown with Wizz Air or know anything more about them, obviously do say, and we'll read it out after this story, which is with you, Travel Mole.
On the Travel Mole, and a story we've covered in the past. It's still in the news. It's still current. On the Travel Mole site, this one: airlines extend Sharm el Sheikh flight cancellations. EasyJet has extended the suspension of flights into Sharm el Sheikh up to the 27th of May this year, as the government continues to advise against flying into the Red Sea resort. EasyJet said cancelling flights now would provide some certainty for passengers booked to fly to Sharm in the spring and early summer. It means that the airline won't offer flights to Sharm over Easter holidays, and families already booked on these flights will have to defer their travel plans to switch to another destination or another airline. However, the airline might resume services in time for the school half-term break in late May if the government lifts its ban on flights between the UK and Sharm. BA has also cancelled its services up to and including March 26th. The Department of Transport ordered airlines to cancel all regular services to the popular Egyptian resort last November after it was found that a bomb that was thought to have brought down the Russian holiday jet that had been had the device smuggled on board. It says that flights cannot resume until it is satisfied the airport has adequate security in place.
Good.
Passengers who booked to travel to Sharm with EasyJet up to May the 27th can arrange for a voucher for the original value of the flights to use towards alternative flights or receive a full refund. The airline suggests trips to alternative destinations with good availability, including the Canaries, Cyprus, Malta, and Morocco. BA customers are being offered a full refund and the option to defer their flight or switch to another destination as well. Monarch Airlines has recently cancelled its flights to Sharm until the 14th of February.
Right.
While Thomson and Thomas Cook announced last month that they were cancelling their services up to and including March the 23rd.
Gosh.
So it's ongoing. It's one of those holiday destinations that I don't think I'll be booking to go to soon, unfortunately. But
I have to say, from my own point of view, I mean, because I had a holiday a few years back now in Sharm, and it was absolutely wonderful. It was really, really lovely. People were really friendly. The weather was great. Lovely airport. Lovely airport. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not so much worried about when I get there, if I'm honest, as I say. But you can't help but be a bit nervous about the flight, and nobody sort of seems to have been brought to justice almost over it, which I know is tricky whenever it comes to anything like that. But
so next story is something that was brought up in the chat room just a few moments ago. So this story is kind of an interesting one.
Okay, all right. So this is on local10.com. And the headline is British Airways plane strikes gate after landing at Miami International Airport. No injuries were reported, which is always good. Miami, a British Airways plane has struck a gate Tuesday night while landing at Miami International Airport, an airport representative said. According to the representative, Flight 209, which took off from London's Heathrow, was pulling into gate E8 when the A380 plane clipped the gate. The plane landed at 7:02 p.m. No injuries were reported. Airport workers are expected to repair the gate Wednesday, and repairs will be done on the plane, the representative said. Dear, got to mend the plane. That's never a good sign. Airline officials did not immediately say how many people were aboard the plane or what went wrong. The pilot is being questioned by the investigators.
Now, I saw this story earlier on in the week, Matt, and that had one of those... Poppy's just in.
Absolutely.
And he had one of those news clips from CBS, I think it was.
Right.
CBS Live.
Yeah, I mean, the video clip is actually there if you want to try and...
if the video clip is there, I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
There
is one. Yeah.
Is there a video clip
there is one there. Just frame that there, hit play, we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
I don't care this morning. I'm just throwing caution to the wind. Let's hit go and see if anything happens. Turn the sound up.
Here we go.
He says, playing it direct from the website, so this could go really horribly wrong.
It might go wrong.
Right now at Miami International Airport.
Yeah, we're just learning a plane with passengers on board hit a gate after landing. Let's go out live to Local 10 News reporter Ben Kennedy. And Ben, you've been working this story. What is the latest?
Good afternoon, Michael and Constance. We're talking about a double-decker wide-body aircraft. In fact, you can see it right there behind me in the distance beyond that truck there. It's not clear how many passengers were on board at the time, but we do know no one got hurt. Let's take you up to Sky 10 HD that was overhead to give you a better view as crews prepare to make repairs to the gate and the airplane. This is British Airways Flight 209. It took off late from London. It arrived in MIA just after 7.
We're sticking with it because we're trying to see if we can see the damage.
It hit gate E8. You can only imagine passengers and the crew felt the impact, but again did not get hurt. Today we did witness workers examine the aircraft, which has since been grounded at this time. They're also taking a closer look at the gate.
Yeah, no, just trying to see if we could see the actual damage, but we can't, so we'll leave that.
Also plan to talk to the pilot to get his side.
You were busy sighing and tutting as you...
Do you know what? I watched this. This is not the original report. I remember seeing the original report that went on CBS Live, and it was just one of those, do you know, dramatised.
Yes, overexcited.
And they were like, we've not heard yet if anyone was hurt on board.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this aircraft was probably travelling at best at, 3 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour on the ground, taxiing. It's
exasperating.
It's cringe-worthy news. Absolutely. It is cringe-worthy news reporting, I think.
Trying to make something out of basically, a 4.1 mile an hour crash.
I mean, on that video, you could see that there was some slight damage to the nacelle, the actual front covering of the engine.
Right.
It wasn't ripped off, or there wasn't people hanging out the windows.
It might need a little bit of a respray now, but yes. So
it's just it's just one of those stories that really annoys me when because it doesn't help for people who've got issues with flying, are scared of flying. When they see reports like this that are massively over dramatised, it doesn't help these people, enjoy their flying. So
no, indeed.
Moving on off my soapbox and on to Flight Global's website, and the headline: Lufthansa's first A320neo new engine option arrives at the Frankfurt base. So Lufthansa's first Airbus A320neo has arrived at the carrier's Frankfurt base following a delivery flight from Hamburg. The Pratt & Whitney PW1100G powered twin-jet, registration Delta Alpha India November Alpha, arrived at the hub around 2:15 in the afternoon, having departed Airbus's Finkwerden plant, the airline confirms. Lufthansa formally took delivery of the aircraft on the 20th of January. It plans to put the aircraft into service from the 24th of January, beginning with Hamburg and Munich routes. This is great. This is obviously this is the new engine option. So this is the A320 standard A320 with new engines to give it a bit more fuel efficiency. And it's
hence
nice that,
Neo.
Hence Neo.
I'm getting there. I'm slowly getting
Neo,
there.
new engine option.
Yes,
CO, current engine option.
Yes, good.
And it's great that they've started getting these out now, because a lot of airlines have ordered these Neos. So it's great that Airbus have got their first one out to Lufthansa.
There's a little discussion going on in the chat room.
What's that discussion about?
Yeah, the discussion about the previous story that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Neil had put he'd seen some Facebook posts about BA stating the cabin crew didn't give a damn. I've never had any issues flying BA in terms of hitting gates or unhappy cabin crew.
See, Alan's got the insider info. Alan's put in there that a replacement nacelle was flown out by an Antonov yesterday.
As he did.
See, that's good good having someone who knows as knowledgeable as Al, who knows everything that goes on in the world.
Splendid. Can't wait. Yes. When's he coming on again?
I don't know.
When I've got my new tower, I think that's the next time we'll dare a Skype call, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
Anyway, yes, on to the next story. This is on the Thorn Gazette. You do worry me as to where you spend your time looking for these stories. One of the world's biggest planes lands at Robin Hood Airport. Oh, wow. Hence the Antonov look.
On the picture there.
Yeah, it is actually. It's
absolutely. There, yeah.
Sorry, they were talking about it in the chat room. That's why a replacement nacelle was flown out by Antonov yesterday.
It's flown out. This is flying into Robin Hood Airport.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one.
Concentrate, Smith.
Smith.
So there's one of the world's biggest aircraft has landed at Doncaster's Robin Hood Airport. The Antonov 124 is the largest military transport aircraft in the world and touched down at the airport earlier today. For 30 years, it was the world's largest aircraft gross weight production cargo plane and second heaviest operating cargo aircraft, behind the one-off Antonov AN-225. The Antonov AN-225 has also landed at the airport and was filmed at Robin Hood Airport last November. Only one AN-225 Myria was ever built by the company Antonov, and the giant of the skies has made several visits to Robin Hood in recent years. What goes on there then that they moving big cargo, I guess?
It must be something big, heavy there.
Do you think? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the picture on the... You can put that picture on.
Yes, I will. Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Pop that one on the screen. You'll for the guys in the chat room, you'll be able to see this.
Not that one. That one, sorry.
There we go. Antonov 124.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got some serious wheels on there.
It has, yes. I think that...
What an undercarriage that is.
Absolutely. I've never heard you say that phrase before.
I've never seen one of these, never seen one of these close up before, but I would love to see one of these Antonovs because they are such a humongous aircraft.
There's probably not. There's probably not at the air shows. There probably isn't a landing strip big enough to take it.
I'd love to see one of these configured into passenger. You would be able to carry some serious amount of passengers.
How many people do you think that would hold?
Well, the 225 is bigger. The Antonov 225 is even bigger than the 124.
Right. Yeah.
The 225 is the largest transport category aircraft in the world. It's huge. Cool. I'd love to see that one with passengers and stuff. The chat room's still going there. Well done. Hello, everyone. Been there. They're still there. We're still broadcasting.
We're still here. Yes, absolutely. It's a miracle has occurred.
Right. So next story then is on Flight Global's site, and the headline: Southwest orders 33 737-800s and upgauges 25 737-700 orders. Matt's looking worryingly at the screen. Southwest Airlines has ordered an additional 33 737-800s and converted its remaining 25 737-700 firm orders to the larger variant. We have increased our orders for the future for our delivery schedule to support our recent decision to accelerate the retirement of our 737 Classic fleet to no later than mid-2018, said Southwest Chief Executive Gary Kelly. This decision is expected to reduce the operating costs over the acceleration period and improve customer experience with a better on-time performance and Wi-Fi equipped 737 aircraft. Southwest is expected to discuss the order in greater detail in an earnings call later this week. It says that the revised delivery schedule will increase its aircraft capital commitments by $400 million after 2015. The airline ended 2015 with a fleet of 704 aircraft. My word, that's a lot of aircraft.
It is, yeah.
After taking delivery of 19 new 737-800s and 24 pre-owned 737-700s. The Dallas-based carrier also retired 4 of its 737 Classics. A revised fleet plan shows that Southwest expects to take delivery of 36 737-8s this year and 35 in 2017 and 18 in 2018. In addition, it will take delivery of 17 737-700s later this year, 14 737-700s in 2017 and a further 4 in 2018. Southwest's first 737 MAX 8s will be delivered in 2017.
Wow.
Southwest, another one of those airlines I'd love to try flying if I was in the States, because they're massively popular.
Right.
They're like the Ryanair of the States, Southwest, but they have slightly better customer service.
I should hope so. Yes, absolutely. The Americans tend to be better at customer service in my experience. If that isn't the case, obviously do let us know. But yeah, my experience has always been pretty good. Your oven is getting a great deal of comment.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether they don't believe us when we say we're in the kitchen studio. We are literally in a kitchen.
Yes,
very nice kitchen it is too, by the way. Absolutely,
thank you.
An excellent breakfast, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Scrambled egg.
Scrambled egg on toast. All very healthy. Absolutely. Yes. Anyway, on to the next story. This is on the RTE News website, and once again, it's a Ryanair story. New Ryanair cabin crew deal covers pay rises, new rosters, and funding for uniforms. RTE News has been sent details of the new Ryanair cabin crew pay agreement, which includes some pay rises, new rosters, and new arrangements for funding uniforms. After issuing a press release announcing the deal earlier, Ryanair refused to reveal any details, saying they were confidential, and declined to confirm whether the same deal would apply at all bases. It's understood that the agreement has been structured to boost productivity in order to fund the recruitment of additional staff required to operate new rosters triggered by new regulatory arrangements. From April 2016, higher grade staff, known as number ones, will receive an increase of €350 in basic pay and €250 in their number one allowance. Grades called JCSS will receive a €250 basic pay increase, though the basic pay rises for both grades include what was already set out in a 2013 pay deal. From April 2017, both grades will receive an increase of approximately €450 based on a 50-cent increase in so-called sector pay on the assumption that staff work the maximum 900 hours per year. From April 2018, they will receive a further 50 cents increase in their sector pay, with another similar increase from April 2019. There will be a pay freeze from April 2020 unless a new agreement is reached. Cabin crew retain their €400 Unimed allowance for uniforms, renewal of IDs and medical examinations. If Ryanair crew accept the deal, contractors engaged through employment agencies will receive a €2 per hour increase by 2019 in 4 50-cent phases. However, that increase will include the planned 40-cent increase already projected in the 2013 agreement. The airline says that the new rosters will deliver 15 more scheduled days off per year per employee while retaining the same level of annual leave. However, the company reserves the right to schedule staff in the event of operational disruption. It also points to significant promotional opportunities as the airline hires additional staff to crew 300 new planes currently being purchased. Up to now, new recruits paid for their own uniforms but received a €400 annual allowance to cover those uniforms, renewal of IDs and medical examinations. Ryanair is currently rolling out a new cabin crew uniform. Under the new deal, existing cabin crew who already own or have paid for an old uniform will have a once-off opportunity to receive a new one free of charge, providing they do so by the end of April. Ryanair describes this as a great deal for the crew, as they had previously agreed that the uniform would be funded by deferring the existing €400 annual allowance. New recruits will continue to pay for their initial uniform but will still receive the €400 allowance to fund replacement items if they successfully complete their probationary period. Contractors who have already paid for a uniform will have a once-off opportunity to replace it free of charge if they do so by the 30th of April. Contractors currently in the process of paying for their initial uniform issue will continue to pay for their uniform for the first 12 months. Contract cabin crew hired through agencies will also be able to apply for positions on a new grade known as the junior contract, though the pay rates for this grade are not yet known. There may also be a discretionary sick pay scheme and minimum guaranteed flying hours. In some documentation, Ryanair warned that staff rejecting the new deal would remain on the existing agreement with no pay increases beyond 2016, operating a highly disruptive roster. The company also said that their €400 Unimed allowance would be halved to recoup the cost of the new uniform.
I was just looking online, Matt, while you were doing that story, and according to their website, Ryanair's website, their full-time crews are offered a basic starting pay of £25,000 or €30,000. That's their gross per annum pay. So I suppose is that the 25,000 gross? You've got to take your tax and stuff off that.
Right.
So I don't know what that would work out after tax a year for the cabin crew. And it's I'm just looking on there. They've got a fixed-term, flexible contract for 3 years with a cabin crew agency.
Right.
And yeah, I'm just looking on the website here. I mean, they may on the website they sort of play it as being quite a good thing.
Wow.
And yeah,
that will remain to be seen if the deal gets accepted, basically, doesn't it? If not, there could be strikes by Ryanair crew. How ironic would that be?
But they are recruiting now. Actually, Ryanair are recruiting on their website now.
Shall we apply?
You got and their pilot recruitment as well. They've got a pilot recruitment part as well to fly their fleet of 737-800s that they've got. Obviously, doesn't say how much their pilots are on. But you've got to have a minimum of 3,500 hours flying time before you're taken on by Ryanair.
What's the normal? Is that higher than normal?
You'd have to ask Al that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Al would know. Al would know
absolutely.
that one.
Well, hopefully he'll come back to us in the chat room.
It doesn't say, unfortunately, it doesn't say on their website how much their pilots are paid.
Okay.
On their website, so
probably not enough if you speak to the pilots.
I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
anyway,
Al's paid millions,
of course,
because he flies for Royal Jet
and worth absolutely every single penny.
Yeah, Al is obviously a millionaire because he flies. Like I said, he flies for Royal Jet.
Well, quite right. Yeah.
Next story then on Flight Global's site. He'll say something in the chat room next.
He will. Yes, abuse is forthcoming. I fear.
On Flight Global then, Gulf Air ups A320neo orders but cancels new A330s. So Bahraini flag carrier Gulf Air has confirmed its future narrow-body fleet plan, adjusting a previous order with Airbus to sign up for an increased fleet of neos, new engine option A320s and A321s. They're to be delivered from June 2018, and the new assets will include 17 A321 neos and 12 A320 neo aircraft, with the deal worth an estimated $3.4 billion. No engine choice has been announced yet, though. During detailed chats in Bahrain International Air Show, the development builds on a 2012 order for 10 A320neos and also replaces an earlier commitment to acquire 6 A330-300s. Speaking at the Bahrain International Air Show, Airbus Chief Executive Fabrice Brigier confirmed that the net gain of 13 aircraft with the customer. The planned A330-300s were axed after Gulf Air opted to base its wide-body strategy on the use of a future fleet of up to 16 Boeing 787s. The carrier announced a switch from this Dash 9 to the Dash 8 to the Dash 9 version immediately before the Airbus deal was confirmed. Gulf Air will use the Neo series aircraft to replace its existing fleet of 22 A320s and A321s. And he said that using the Neo will provide a future network expansion opportunities, both regionally and European, and to the Indian subcontinent, the airline said. Meanwhile, Al Musallam says Gulf Air expects to conclude talks with Bombardier within the next couple of months about a planned order for 10 C-Series narrowbodies. The carrier has been pending an order for 10 CS-100s, but he notes that we don't have a luxury of the time to discuss these details. That's quite interesting. They cancelled the 330s, obviously being a big wide-body one, the 320s being more of a... obviously a narrow-body, single-aisle fleet. So obviously expanding the smaller aircraft to cover their not quite higher passenger numbers routes for Gulf Air.
Going back to our previous story, apparently a lot of the pilots for Ryanair are actually not employed directly by Ryanair. They are self-employed. Therefore, if you're not rostered on to work, they don't have to pay you anything, which makes sense. So you know, no flying, no pay.
No flying, no pay.
Yes. That's probably why there isn't a figure.
Royal Jet pay the going rate for highly talented, highly skilled and customer-focused pilots with a sense of humour.
Splendid. He is officially minted.
We so need to get on board a Royal Jet flight.
We do.
With
absolutely.
Captain Al at the helm.
Absolutely. I can't think of anything more exciting. Anyway, the final story in this commercial section. This is on Float Global again, and
it's a chilly story.
Right.
Cooler climbs.
Cooler climbs. Although ironically, we're having what I can only describe. Is it an Indian summer in January?
Indian summer, yeah.
Absolutely. It's like 11 degrees outside here in sunny Suffolk at the moment. Alaska to order 30 large regional jets in the first quarter of 2016. Alaska Air Group expects to place an order for up to 30 large regional jets in the first quarter of 2016, with deliveries expected to begin in 2017. The new aircraft will likely have about 76 seats and be operated by regional partner Horizon Air, says the Seattle-based carrier's chief financial officer, Brandon Peterson, during an earnings call today. Those aircraft would partly replace capacity lost as Horizon returns 15 leased Bombardier Q400 turboprops in 20... Bombardier, I keep doing that. I'm so sorry.
I love it.
Q400 turboprops in 2018. He says, we are in the final phase of a regional jet campaign, says Peterson. Our intent is for those aircraft to be flown by Horizon if their pilots and flight attendants approve changes to their collective bargaining agreements. Voting is taking place now, he says. Executives do not say what type of aircraft Horizon is considering, except that they plan to outfit them with 3 service classes. That would align the new aircraft with Alaska's Boeing 737s and its Embraer 175s operated by SkyWest Lines. Both of those aircraft types have economy and first class cabins, but Alaska announced in December 2015 that it will begin installing premium economy seats in both types later this year. Peterson and other executives say more large regional aircraft will enable Alaska to continue adding profitable medium range routes to its network. Large regional jets have more range than the Q400s and are more comfortable for passengers and have a lower trip cost on stages of more than 400 miles, Peterson said. This is an area where we see plenty of room for profitable growth in 2016 and beyond, adds Alaska's Chief Commercial Officer Andrew Harrison. The new aircraft with the 76 seat range include current generation models like the Bombardier CRJ 900 and the E175, and the next generation models like the E175-E2 and the Mitsubishi MRJ70. Executives say they are not seriously considering an aircraft with 100 seats, just such as the Bombardier CS100. We have thought about it, but right now we are moving towards a 76-seat regional jet at Horizon, says Peterson. Regional partner SkyWest already operates 5 E175s and 8 Bombardier CRJ700s for Alaska. However, all 8 CRJ700s will be removed from service in 2016 and replaced by 10 new E175s, Alaska's fleet plan shows. Although Alaska intends to begin operating regional jets under its Horizon division, Peterson said SkyWest will continue to operate some regional jets for Alaska.
So the Bombardier Q400, the 400 series, it's been Bombardier's best-selling version of the aircraft. You can buy one of these at a unit cost of around $27 million.
Lovely.
I know.
How's that lottery win coming along?
Well, it's taken a long while. In a single class, 78 passengers.
Right.
So it's a small amount of pack, but great little aircraft. And I'm just reading, it's got powered by the Pratt & Whitney PW150A engines, can fly at 414 miles an hour, or that, in knots, that's 360 knots. Okay. Yeah. Has a range of 1,362 nautical miles.
Gosh.
But no, great aircraft there from Bombardier. And they've also penned in to have a water bombing version of these for carry, for
fires and
stuff.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Idea, yeah.
So that's where we're going to bring the commercial section of the
is.
show to a close. We have got some military news coming up next, and also a segment from Pilot Pip.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to do the Pilot Pip segment.
Are we going to do it now?
Yeah, we're going to do that now. Yeah, and then while we have a quick cup of tea, and then we can bash on, because we're going to be a slightly shorter show, I think, because of our technical problems. So if the technology holds out, if you are ready, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to welcome Pilot Pip into the studio.
Plane safety from the flight deck with Pilot Pip.
Hey everyone, it's Pip here with another Safety from the Flight Deck segment. And today just want to have a very quick word about call signs. Now the sort of call signs you'll probably be familiar with are things like Maverick and Iceman and Ghost Rider and other very cool, very sexy call signs like that. But unfortunately the call signs we use in the boring old civilian world really aren't that exciting or sexy. Usually they just consist of letters and numbers, and if you're lucky maybe you've got a sexy sounding airline name or other sort of call sign, but they're pretty mundane usually, and necessarily so. Now, most airlines use their own name as part of their call sign. So, EasyJet, for instance, use Easy 123, or United will use United, Delta, Ryanair, Virgin, Lufthansa. Most of them just use their own names. Sometimes you get the odd one that doesn't. They use something else slightly different, like British Airways uses Speedbird 123, or Aer Lingus, for instance, uses the call sign Shamrock, which I quite like actually. And then that's usually preceded by a number of letters and or numbers. So for instance at SafeJets we use the call sign SafeJets 123 with a letter. Well, actually we have two different formats. We either use 3 numbers and a letter, so for instance 517 uniform, or we use 1 letter and 2 numbers, so 5 November Juliet, for instance. Now many airlines have some sort of system in place whereby the call sign is predicated upon the direction of travel. So north-south flights have a particular format of call sign, and east-west have something else. If we use something like that at the SafeJets, then I've yet to figure it out. It all seems rather random. But you can imagine with only so many letters and so many numbers that there are only a finite number of call signs you could have. And there is a real danger actually that you can get similar sounding call signs. Now maybe not identical, but you can get ones that are similar enough sounding to cause a bit of a problem. Now in theory that shouldn't happen, because we've got a couple of layers of protection in place to prevent that. First of all, most companies, when they're compiling their flight schedules, will have some sort of bit of software that goes through and looks at all of the call signs that are going to be airborne at the same time, and should in theory filter out the ones that are either identical or very similar sounding. But of course that only works within a particular airline. Another layer, at least when we're talking about in Europe, when all the flight plans get submitted to Eurocontrol, which is in Brussels I think, there's another similar bit of software that goes through and looks at all the flight plans in the system from all the different airlines that are going to be flying in the space at a particular time, and again goes through and has a look at all of them and chucks back or rejects any that are very similar or identical. But even so, it's not uncommon to have a couple slip through the net, as I found out a few nights ago or a few weeks ago, one evening flying into Nice. I can't remember the exact call sign. We were something like SafeJets 517 uniform, and we were fairly well into the approach when another SafeJets aircraft came on the frequency, approaching from a different direction with something like 527 Yankee. Now, at first glance they're quite different, but actually when you've been up in the air for a few hours, it's getting late in the evening, it's your 3rd or 4th flight of the day, those kinds of, when you've got similar numbers and letters, can throw you a bit, because the controllers can make mistakes as well. So we were flying along and we had requested a visual approach, and the controller was a little bit late getting back to us, and he eventually did come back and cleared us for the visual approach. But in the meantime, this other SafeJet's call sign had come on frequency, hadn't realised we were there, and assumed the clearance for the visual approach was for them. And they were obviously quite confused by this, because A, they hadn't requested a visual approach, and B, they were quite far out and weren't expecting one at all, so they kind of went, okay, we'll take that. And then we were in our cockpit saying, hang on a second, I think that was probably for us. So it caused a bit of confusion while we sorted that one out. And then funnily enough, actually, just the following day, we were on the ground. We were just getting ready to start up and taxi out. And again, I forget the call sign, but at the same time, another aircraft from a totally different company had just landed and were taxiing in and had an almost identical call sign to us. So we had to say to each other, okay, look, there's another call sign very similar to ours, so let's just pay attention and not get confused. Because potentially it can lead to quite a big foul-up. You could imagine a scenario in which one aircraft takes a descent clearance or something that was meant for another aircraft, and it all ends very badly. In fact, the most amusing one I ever had was quite a few years ago. It involved 2 British Airways call signs over London, both Speedbirds, and it was an almost identical call sign. I don't remember at all what they were, but they were very, very similar, and it was really starting to cause a bit of confusion. So eventually, the controller, a very switched-on chap, he said, do you know what? Speedbird at flight level 300 heading west, from now on I'm going to call you John. Other Speedbird at level 150 heading east, I'm going to call you Bert. Got it? And they both came back and said, yep. Right, John, you descend flight level 100. Bert, you turn right and climb level 280, or whatever it was. And it was all very amusing for a while, the controller calling them both John and Bert. And eventually, of course, one call sign left the frequency to another sector and everything went back to normal. So just yet another of those little gotchas that are out there waiting to bite you in the butt. So it's important to always be paying attention. But like I say, most of the call signs are very boring. Our one's very boring. There are only a few good ones. My favourite one, there's a cargo company here in the UK which uses the call sign Neptune, which I think is fantastic. There's another one out there that uses Night Star. I like that very much. In fact, you even quite regularly hear on frequencies sometimes the call signs Batman and Blackadder. Now, I don't know quite who's using those call signs, but I'm very jealous. Blackadder, if you don't know, for those of you not in the UK, is of course a reference to a very well-known UK comedy TV programme. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I've got to get to bed. I've got my last day tomorrow of my 4-day sim recurrent. Tomorrow is our special airport, so we're going to be training for London City Airport and Chambéry in France. Always good fun. And we'll also be doing our LOFT scenario, our line-orientated flying training, which basically they dream up some wacky scenario for us to deal with in the air. Sometimes it's very run-of-the-mill, passengers has a heart attack or something like that, or other times it can get quite wacky. But I need to go and get my beauty sleep and be ready for that. So until the next time, until the next segment, I'm going to hand you back to the boys in the studio. So over to you, Carlos and Mats.
Well, thanks for that, Pip.
Yeah.
As always, another excellent segment from Pilot Pip. Don't forget you can contact Pilot Pip and also listen to his show over at the Plane Safety Podcast. Look for him on iTunes. You can find him on iTunes alongside us over at the Plane Safety Podcast. Go and download his latest episode, which I listened to this week.
Did you? Get you.
Which was really good. It was all about the background and how they all went about doing the Miami meetup for APG 200.
I should make sure I listen to that this week.
Yeah, Pip had some sort of behind the scenes recordings from when they were sort of surprising Jeff and
oh wow,
and, it was really good. It was a really good show. Yeah.
Well, and he did a lovely little segment for us afterwards, didn't he? Where they'd just done the big meetup that we played out a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it was good. So
don't forget, catch up with Pip there, and hopefully Pip will be back next week with another brilliant segment.
And toes all crossed. Yeah, so fun in a simulator for him.
I know, in a simulator today. Yeah. He did actually text. He texted me this morning to say that he was going flying in a sim today. So, as you do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to have a go in one of those simulators.
I think owners of expensive aircraft would like you to do that as well. Over actually flying one for real. I mean, maybe have a bit of a practice. I wonder, can you hire one out for the day?
You can.
Oh, can you?
Yeah,
okay,
there is. I think Al will probably know this as well. That there is one of the simulators, the full motion simulators at Luton Airport. I think.
Is it?
But it costs quite a lot of money to hire that for an hour. I think it's somewhere around the £500 or £600 for an hour. something like that. Might even be more than that now, but I know it's not cheap to hire one of these. But they are a full motion simulator. You know, that's the ones that the pilots use for training.
I like Captain Al's idea for while we're out on the road. Yeah, he suggested a caravan. We're going to have a PT UK caravan with our love.
We've got a van.
You've got the TriStar van. Yeah.
We've got a van
with everything all set up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Ironically, it would be easier to do an FM broadcast, I think, rather than anything else, thanks to that massive aerial on the TriStar. You can't miss it from a mile away. But yes, no, thanks, Pip. Cracking segment as always.
Oh, hold on. Neil Braden has put that he flies a fixed base 737-800 sim in the UK every few months. He pays 40 quid for 12 hours?
What?
£40? Where is this fixed base simulator, Neil? I need to go there every day.
You go right.
40 quid? I'd blimey.
Yes, absolutely. Right, okay, well, while we wait for further updates on that in the chat room, what we're going to do, it's time then, if you're ready, let's get the military section underway. So if you're ready, Mr. Stebbings?
Yes, let's go. So the first story for the military segment this week on Flight Global, and the headline, UK eyes potential for in-flight refuelling of helicopters. That's a story I found a couple of days ago, and it's pretty awesome. There's a picture, I don't know if it's on this particular news story, but they had a picture of kind of refuelling going on, in air of helicopters.
It's
amazing to see.
Absolutely.
Because, the logistical thing of controlling a helicopter
I can imagine.
behind a fixed-wing aircraft.
Yeah, because all the airflows would be
completely
it's just
horrific,
amazing. Wouldn't they? Yeah.
So the UK, our good old UK, where me and Matt are now, is exploring options for its transport rotorcraft, including in-flight refuelling, as it looks to extend the operational range of its fleet in line with commitments in a new recent defence review. Released in November, the Strategic Defence and Security Review, or the SDSR, promised the UK world would upgrade helicopters and transport aircraft so we could deploy further and faster and independently to meet the threats around the world. Speaking at the IQPC, the International Military Helicopter 2006 conference, Major General Richard Felton, commander of the UK's multi-service Joint Helicopter Command, said several options were available to address that need. With acquisitions of new types such as the Bell Boeing V-22 tilt rotor unlikely, Felton says the focus is instead on adding range to existing platforms. This could either be achieved through the installation of internal fuel tanks with a reduced payload for takeoff or the addition of in-flight refuelling. However, he concedes that the consideration will also have to be given to tankers, with the nation's only in-flight refuelling assets, the Royal Air Force's Airbus and Defence A330 MRTT, which are unsuited to slow speeds necessary for helicopter refuelling, which is what I was just saying there.
Yeah.
Obviously, because helicopters don't fly at the same
speed. No, they're very slow.
Especially not big helicopters, the transport ones.
I just can't get my head round, as you say, because what's the slowest that a large refueling jet, for example, can fly at?
I've no idea. I don't know what sort of the slowest speed that Alan can fly his A321, but it's a similar. The A330, obviously has a stall speed. Like all aircraft have a speed at which.
Yeah, but you can't maintain that for. Presumably it takes a reasonable amount of time to refuel.
It does say here that on the story that both the Royal Air Force's Lockheed Martin C-130Js and the Boeing C-17 transports can achieve the 120 knot or 222 kilometres an hour required for refueling. Although he stresses that the decision-making process is really at an early stage.
Yeah, I bet.
The SDSR also states in the UK will invest in Boeing CH-47 Chinook fleets to be able to operate it into the 2040s. Right. This would be quite an awesome thing to see, for definite, to see refuelling of helicopters in air.
I'd love to see it. Love to see somebody video that as soon as they do that. If we find that.
Glenn's just put in here that the US Marines do air-to-air refueling a lot with helicopters.
Right.
But we don't.
Yeah, but is it helicopter to helicopter?
I don't know. You have to. I think you have to ask Glenn that one. to go. We need you, Glenn. Glenn, give us the answer to that one.
Look it up. Yes, excellent. Yeah, okay. Anyway, on to the next story whilst we're waiting for more feedback from that. And it's Flight Global again. It's the life of the RAF Tornado Squadron further extended to 2018.
Good.
Further detail on the UK Ministry of Defence's November Strategic Defence and Security Reviews, the SDSR, has revealed the retirement of a Panavia Tornado GR4 squadron will be pushed back to 2018 from the previously announced 2017 date. Last August, Defence Secretary Michael Fallon said that a delayed retirement from 2016 until March 2017 of the Royal Air Force's 12th Squadron would allow the type to continue operating until the Eurofighter Typhoon was able to fully take over the ground attack role in Iraq and Syria. However, the next retirement of a Tornado Squadron has now been pushed back further to 2018. Rather suggests perhaps that the Eurofighter isn't going to be ready in time.
No, it's the Eurofighters.
All right, well, maybe there won't be enough people trained to use it perhaps in time. We will extend the 3rd Tornado Ground Attack Squadron in service until 2018 to continue the fight against Daesh, the Islamic State, and be ready for other tasks, then retire the remaining 2 squadrons of Tornadoes in 2019, an SDSR fact sheet released by the MOD on the 15th of January says. The Tornado is proving its worth against Islamic State militants in the Middle East, and the demand for it is high. 12 Squadron was returned to service in January 2015 to join Operation Shader after originally disbanding in 2014 after the withdrawal from Afghanistan. 3 squadrons are required to support the operation, with 1 deployed at any given time, 1 in a preparation role and the other on stand-down. The recent SDSR also noted that the UK will require the planned 138 Lockheed Martin F-35s over the life of the programme and will buy some of these aircraft more quickly than previously planned, creating an additional frontline squadron by 2023. According to said fact sheet, the Tornado GR4's replacement, the Typhoon, will also see an additional 2 frontline squadrons formed to support the type until 2040, with more investment into integrating an active electronically scanned array radar with the integration of the MBDA Brimstone air-to-surface missile in 2017. The newer type should be able to begin adopting the ground attack role from the Tornado, which began carrying the weapons in Syria this month. The fact sheet also confirms the UK commitment to developing unmanned combat air vehicle technology, specifically in collaboration with France. The 2 nations are involved in a bilateral future combat air systems program and the USA. We will work with France to develop an advanced unmanned combat air system technology demonstrator, and with the United States to mature other high-end technologies, it said. Additionally, we will pursue a national technology program to maintain the UK's position as a global leader in this area. Under its Protector program, the UK will see its fleet of armed UAVs doubled in the 2020 timeframe from a capability currently provided by the General Atomics Aeronautical Systems MQR Reaper. So yes, exciting times, I think, really. But it's great that this squadron is remaining in service just for a little bit longer.
Yeah, while
everybody loves a Tornado.
Oh yeah, I was just actually looking at some of the. I didn't realise it was quite as old as it is. Obviously, still a very formidable jet. Yeah. But it first introduced into service, or first flew in 1974, before me and you were.
Yes.
On the 14th of August.
Oh wow.
And introduced into service in 1979.
Wow.
That one. There's been just under 1,000 of these aircraft produced.
Gosh.
Going back to the last story we had on the refuelling thing. We had I'm just posting it now on our Facebook feed. There we go. For everyone on the chat in the chat room now. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll be able to see a story there. And this was brought to us by Glenn Towler, who's in the chat room now. He's just sent us the link through. And Glenn sent the link through for the air-to-air refuelling of helicopters. So for those of you in the chat room or listening to the podcast version or the audio version, you'll be able to go on the Facebook page
and find that link,
see the story. There's one on there, and there's a great picture there. on our Facebook page of this air-to-air refuelling from an aircraft. That's cool. Next story is on Flight Global site. Sad one. Taiwanese F-16A crashes in the Arizona desert. A Taiwanese F-16A operating from Luke Air Force Base in Arizona has crashed, and the pilot is presumed dead, according to a base spokesman. The 56th Fighter Wing hosts F-16 training squadrons from Singapore and Taiwan and leads the multinational training centre for the newest Lockheed Martin type, the F-35A. According to statements from the wing, the aircraft went down at 8:45 local time on the 21st of January during a training flight over Baghdad, Arizona, a small remote town 160 kilometers northwest of the Air Force Base outside Phoenix. The crash site has been located and are based on evidence the pilot did not survive, a spokesman confirms. The wing is the single largest producer of F-16 pilots for the US Air Force and its allies, with squadrons based locally and at Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and giving them our full support during this difficult time, says Brigadier General Scott Plus of the 56th Command in a statement. Very sad indeed, when you lose a pilot, on a training mission as well. This is a training mission, not
not in combat.
At all. Yeah. It's very sad indeed, but obviously these aircraft do have recording systems on and stuff, so they'll probably
find
get to
out
the
what
bottom of what actually happened.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so watch this space then. It's a developing picture, as they
say.
A
UAV story for the last one then.
Indeed, yes, the final story. This once again is on Flight Global, and UAV company offers to map UK to prevent future flooding. Now, this is a great idea. Unmanned air vehicle provider Strat Aero has offered the UK government use of its aerial 3D mapping services to help inform flood prevention studies. Chief Executive Tony Dunleavy has written to MP Rory Stewart, Environment Minister, asking him to consider contracting the company to map the UK's coastline waterways and flood defences, which it says it can complete within 12 months using its topography software. Given UK's airspace restrictions, the company is offering to carry the payload using a mixed fleet of manned and unmanned aircraft, the SenseFly EB electric fixed-winged UAV and the Cessna 208 Caravan. The faithful Caravan. Mr. Dunleavy reckons he can complete the job before the end of 2016 and not only significantly increase the effectiveness of the budgetary spend, but do so at significantly less cost than currently being spent by the Exchequer, the company says. Even better, this can be completed annually to help avoid future flooding disasters arising from out-of-date data. Strat Aero says information collected using the topography sensor is more reliable than the current national survey data, and mapping can be carried out within 10 centimetres, that's 4 inches above and below the waterline. That's very, very cool, isn't it? Strat Aero's subsidiary GeoCurve previously used the same concept for the UK's Environment Agency to help secure flood defences in the Norfolk Broads National Park between March and July 2015. It's not really a national park, is it? This must be an American website. Anyway, by the by, having already achieved outstanding results through mapping the Norfolk Broads for the Environment Agency, Strat Aero is perfectly positioned to roll out our service across the UK, Dunleavy says. We believe we can provide an up-to-date and more comprehensive data set than has ever existed for the UK's coastline and waterways. This will provide an excellent foundation for the formulation of preemptive strategy to improve the country's flood defences and, in the process, help prevent further flood damage and suffering occurring in the future. The letter was sent in the week starting the 11th of January, but Strat Aero has not received a response from Stewart at the time of going to press. Now, I don't know whether it's because the governments are very, very slow at responding to anything like this, but I mean they're claiming that they can do it cheaper than what they're currently shelling out already, if you like, with more accurate data at the end of it. I mean, surely it's a no-brainer, isn't it? I mean, people are really suffering. I mean, it's nothing. I know there's big problems in the States, obviously, absolutely, and not so much certainly where we live. We've been very lucky, but certainly in Scotland and Wales and things. I mean, they're forever being flooded, aren't they? And it does make you worry that nothing seems to be done about it. It's sort of, I mean, was it one area? Was it in Wales where it's been flooded 3 times?
Yeah, 3 in the last year, I think.
Well, no. I mean, they had 3 on the bounce, didn't they? Within weeks, didn't they?
Yeah.
Very recently, and it's just sort of very, very so. So got a company here who's offering to do it for less. I don't understand why we aren't biting their hand off.
But it's another great use of
UAVs,
a good use for a UAV for obviously
absolutely.
doing this kind of thing, because you get obviously with the lovely HD cameras these UAVs have to film. This sort of thing, it's a really good use for a UAV.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
On a side note, from Matt, you're on about bad weather still.
Yes.
Just a note to all our US listeners who are listening at the moment.
Yeah.
And obviously we've seen on the news, on Sky News, whilst we've been recording the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys are getting some really bad snow. So
actual snow, not snow.
Real snow. Yeah. So you guys and girls out there, take care.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is really. Some of the scenes we've seen on there of cars going into each other and stuff has been really bad. So take care, everyone in the US, and make sure you stay safe.
Really, we're so lucky, aren't we? Because we don't get tornadoes. Okay, there are parts of the UK that are struggling with flooding and stuff, but amazing times. Well, that is, I'm afraid, where we have to bring a rather eventful episode number 96 to a close. To get in touch with the show, you can do so by the usual means. So it's facebook.com/planetalkinguk. Twitter handle is @planetalkinguk. www.planetalkinguk.com is the website, and of course, if you've got any audio feedback, we haven't had any audio feedback this week, which Carl is very upset about. Yeah, absolutely.
Upset.
He does love to get his audio feedback mainly because it means you don't have to listen to us for quite so long. Actually, we're just seeing horrific pictures of the White House at the moment. That's live.
The White House is actually a very white house.
Very difficult to actually see it. But yes, send any feedback, audio or otherwise, get in touch with the show. It is podcast@planetalkinguk.com. It's been emotional, I'm not going to lie. And hopefully our new equipment will be here by next week. So everything will be returned to normal service. So thanks very much. Those of you who were watching live, thank you very much for sticking with us. We've been lucky to have so many people still watching the live show after we had to change links and all that kind of thing. So seriously,
and thanks
guys,
as well also to all those guys and girls who have donated via Patreon.
Of course, yes, absolutely,
to the show.
Yeah,
Alan, you're in the chat room there, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for your donation. We mentioned you last week, but
very grateful. And ways of helping the show out. If you go to our website, as I say, www.
We definitely need.
We definitely needed some help now. Yes, absolutely. We've had lots of things blow up this week. So lots of ways to get involved. If you buy stuff through Amazon, it's Amazon. If you go to our website, there's a link on our page, and if you're an Amazon user, there's no cost to you, but Amazon will give us a small donation for basically advertising referrals, essentially. So if you buy stuff through Amazon, please use our link, because it doesn't cost. It doesn't cost us anything. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously PayPal, all the details that you need for both for not only for Patreon and Amazon, but also PayPal if you want to just send a one-off donation. But any help will be greatly received, especially as we've lost 4 rather major pieces of equipment this week. So yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
actually, the microphones are sitting on the table just behind where Matt is.
We're going to have a ceremonial burning session later, I think.
Microphones,
absolutely.
But in answer to your question, Jennifer, in the chat room,
yes,
Jenny's just said, would you like a little report as audio feedback next week for the new Alitalia and Etihad airline merger?
Oh my goodness,
yes, Jenny, we'd love that.
Absolutely,
yes, send us in
anything.
Yeah. And anyone else who is in the chat room listening to us as well, please feel free to send us an audio recording.
Or video, don't mind.
Or video, video is good.
Yeah, video is good.
But no, send us that. Perhaps Captain Al, we might get him back on the show soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Not
until we've ironed out a few kinks.
We need to iron out a few creases first.
Absolutely.
Oh, dear.
But anyway, thanks guys for sticking with us. That's where we bring episode 96 to a close.
96. Oh, I've had an idea for our 100th episode, but we shall discuss that later.
Yes, okay. Splendid. Thanks, guys. As I say, thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you all on the flip side, as they say abroad. We'll see you for episode 97
next week.
So from all of us here in the studio, it is a very, very relieved that we got through it. Goodbye.